Hey folks, what's up? Welcome back to Fixing the Fish. And today, this may look kind of familiar to you guys. This is Zombie Baits Green Lugworms. And I did a video on this previously. I wasn't really happy with how it turned out. I want to give this bait a second chance. A lot of you are saying, well, you don't normally do that. Usually when you review a product, you don't usually give it a second chance. But there were extenuating circumstances that I just felt like I wasn't being fair to this product. And also, I have a lot of belief in this product because my son caught a giant black crappie on it when we went fishing. But also because growing up in Maryland, bloodworms are a big deal. Whenever you go fishing on the Chesapeake Bay or go out to the coast, one of the bait of choice, I would say, at the top of the list is definitely bloodworms, and these are very similar to that. And a lot of people do use them for bass fishing, pan fishing. For me, I did not live real close to the bay, so it was an hour drive, and a lot of the time you would go pick some up, some live bloodworms up, and you would fish with them, and by the end of the day they were all sort of falling apart and had gone bad. Half of them were dead, so you didn't really have any to bring back to try to bass fish. And they're also pretty expensive in Maryland to buy a container of the bloodworms. So I'm pretty psyched to try these out. The weather's a little better. We did have a cold front come through. It's been raining a few days. It's not the prettiest day out, but I feel like we should be able to get something. Anyway, I'm going to hydrate some of these up and we're going to go head out. I don't have terribly long before my son comes home. Got about a couple hours. Hopefully we'll be able to get a bite in that amount of time. Alright, so we're down here at the pond, and they got a little slip bobber set up. A little jig tipped with those lugworms, and we're going to try to catch something. I know that there's bream in here. We just have to figure out where they are. And I have 6-pound mono spooled up. Super light line, almost invisible. Alright, we got a fish on, and I'm pretty sure it's a bass, given how it's fighting. It's actually a pretty big bass. Or 8-pound line. 8-pound line, that's kind of pushing it. I'm sorry, this is actually 6-pound line. Not what I was expecting to catch. Alright, so our first catch on the green lugworms. Looks like it might be a female. Hard to tell. There she goes. Alright, so not what I was looking for, but we'll take it. I will say it's very hard for me to fish like this. Being a bass fisherman, just sitting here waiting for a bite, slowly dragging that float and that jig. It's really hard on me because I have this feeling that I need to be moving and casting and stuff like that. So just doing this is one of the reasons I don't fish like this a lot. It's just really hard to turn off the bass fishing when I do this. I may actually have a pretty hard time catching bream just because I'm automatically casting the spots where I know bass should be. And I cast it over there. There's a drainage tube, and I'm basically targeting fish. What is that? Did I get another fish? I think that's another bass. Yeah, that's another bass. That's a big one. Wow. That's definitely a female. I can't stop catching bass. That is definitely that's crazy. I'm not trying to catch bass, and I'm catching the biggest bass in here to date. I caught on this little float rig. And she's a good size. Let's let her go. Wow. That's great, but we need some brim. Where's the brim? Alright, well, at the very least, we've established that the green lugworms do in fact work really well for bass. And she tore that up. The thing I like about these lugworms is a little goes a long way. You don't need a lot on here. It's just enough to give it that smell that it's alive, that it's a living bait. They'll smell that. So the one cool thing about these lugworms is one worm goes a long way. I had a couple other bags of these, and I went through them and barely used half of what I brought with me. So if you're planning on just hitting ponds like this, maybe a few hours, one worm cut up into pieces on the end of a jig will last you your entire trip. And I've had to sort of restrain myself from preparing too much of this so that I have leftovers. If you want to keep them fresh longer, freezing might be a better idea, and then thawing them out for when you want to fish. Because once you hydrate these worms, they tend to be on a countdown to disintegration, and left out, for a day or so, they'll start to liquefy and not be usable as a bait anymore. So if you have leftovers and you're not going to plan on using them in the next 24 hours or so, I would recommend filling a baggie with water and just freezing them solid in the water. And then when you're ready to go fishing with them, just set them out for a few hours till they thaw out. They should still be pretty fresh, and they should still be fairly firm enough to put on a hook. Just my little bait saving tip. Alright, we got a bite. I think it's a bass. Yep, it's another bass. We got another bass. I cannot catch a brim today. Another decent sized bass. Easy now. Another bass. Probably hanging out on a bed. Well, one thing we can say for sure is that these lugworms do work. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and try the pond that just has panfish in it and see what we can do there. I think I have just enough time to get down there and throw my line in and see what we can get. Alright, so we're at the brim pond, and more than likely anybody I get in here is going to be a panfish. I'm definitely fighting the clock here, trying to get something. Alright, we're getting a bite. It's very little. I'm not sure if I can get him. Ah, that was definitely a panfish. So little I could not get the hook in him. That might have shown up on video. I could see his sides. He was tiny. And we got some rain coming down. That was a bite, a little tiny bite. able to get it. Not able to get that hook on. These fish must be very, very small. Well, sadly I ran out of time. I didn't get any more bites for panfish, but I can definitely say that I did get some bites. You can just tell the difference between a bass and a panfish. They're really light, and they tend to peck more than bass do. So I definitely had some bites, but I think my jig was just too big for the fish in that pond. They were absolutely tiny. But I do feel better about this video. It does show that these lugworms do work. I knew they would, and I think in the first video the conditions were just really, really tough. So that's going to do it. Hopefully I'll be able to catch some panfish in the near future. I'm not really sure what I was doing wrong, or if it was just not that day. I usually have pretty good luck fishing for panfish, but I was definitely getting bites on the bait, and that was pretty much what I wanted to establish, was this is a viable bait. It does catch fish, and if you're a better panfisher than me, then you probably have better luck, at least as far as catching bream. Anyway, until next time, thanks for watching.